I was in the infirmary when the first person died. It wasn't a good way to go, and it wasn't still. I heard the commotion in the other end of the infirmary. Pneumonia, one of the villager medics said to another. His lungs are full of infection. Someone pulled the curtain back and everyone hurried to gather around to try and save the patient, who was breathing with an awful, wet, gasping breath, and sounded like he swallowed an entire sea. Then he coughed, and it spattered out blood came out of his mouth. I saw it even from far away. It was bright red on its clean white sheets. Everyone was too busy to tell me to go. I wanted to run, but I couldn't leave Kai. I didn't want him to hear the sound of the people trying to save the man, or how Kai's own breathing sounded labored. So I crouched down in front of Kai and covered one of his ears with my shaking hand, and then I leaned right up close to his other ear and saying to him, "Do you even know I knew how?" I'm still singing when Layla brings Ochre and Xander in. I have to keep singing because someone else has started choking. One of the village medics walks over to Ochre and gets right in his face. "This is your fault for keeping them coherent," he says to Ochre. "Come see what you've done." He knows what's happening. There's no peace in his eyes. "He came back," Ochre asks. I hear excitement in his voice. It makes me sick. "Only enough to know that he's dying," the medic says. "He's not cured." Xander stops and crouches down next to me. "Are you all right?" he asks. I nod. I keep singing. He can see in my eyes that I'm not crazy. He touched my arm very briefly and then goes to stand with Ochre and the others by the patients. I understand that Xander needs to see what's happening, and he's found a pilot in Ochre. If I had to choose someone as a pilot, I'd pick Anna. But I also know we can't plan on anyone else rescuing us. We have to do it ourselves. There can only be one pilot. We have to be strong enough to go without the belief that someone can swoop down and save us. I think about grandfather. "Do you remember what I said once about the green tablet?" he asks. "Yes," I say. "You said I was strong enough to go without it." "Green space, green tablet," he says, quoting himself from that long day ago. "Green eyes on a green girl." I always remember that day, I tell him. "But you're having a hard time remembering this one," he says. His eyes are knowing, sympathetic. "Yes," I say. "Why?" Grandfather doesn't answer me, at least not outright. "They used to have a phrase for a truly memorable day," he insisted. "A red letter day. Can you remember that?" "I'm not sure," I say. I press my hand on my head. I feel foggy and not quite right. Grandfather's face is sad, but determined. It makes me feel determined too. I look around again at the red buds and the flowers. Or, I say, something sharpens in me. "You could call it a red garden day." "Yes," Grandfather says. "A red garden day. A day to remember." He leans closer. "It's going to be hard to remember," he says. "Even this, right now, won't be clear later. But you're strong. I know you can get it all back." I remember another part of the red garden day, and I can't get it all back. Grandfather said so. I tighten my fingers around Kai's and keep singing. The wind over the hill and under the tree, past the border no one can see. I will sing to him until people stop dying, and then I will figure out the cure.